Tuesday night, it's book club night. Welcome to the Holly Furtick Book Club. I am so glad that you are here with me tonight. I am so excited because tonight we are going to be discussing this amazing book, Kitchens of the Great Midwest by J Ryan Stradal.
Hi,
Hi!
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
Awesome.
It's nice to meet you. Thanks for being on here.
Oh, it's great to be on here myself. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. And there's a lot of good books out there. More than I can get to. I'm really honored that you chose mine. And
Oh, thank you.
yeah, thank you so much. It's
Uh-oh, we lost your audio.
oh, okay.
Oh, now I can hear you.
Okay, great. It's personally always kind of amazing to me whenever anyone who's not my mom, my grandma or my dad or my brother reads my books. So yeah, so thank you.
Well, I saw it on like a couple different lists, and then I saw it showed up on a list that I was reading about like epic it was like stories that follow one character their whole life, and I really like those kind of books. And so I picked it up, and I truly just I loved it. So okay, before we start, I'm saying your name correctly? You go by J Ryan?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. I read a little interview that you did, and how the J, like that's actually your given name is J Ryan. And I thought it was really cool because I have two sons. They're almost 16 and 13, and they have just initials for their middle names.
Oh,
And
cool.
so, but they don't go by them. They just go by their first name. But like my oldest son, his name is Elijah B. Furtick. And then
Uh-huh.
my middle son, his name is Graham T. Furtick. And sometimes they like it, and sometimes when they were little kids they didn't like it because people would be like, what's your middle name? And they're like, I don't have a middle name, I just have a letter.
Oh yeah. Once I realized that I had a J and it didn't stand for anything, I ran with it, man. I thought that was fun. That's it's cool. And and frankly, as a little kid, it's easy to spell. Um,
And it's also a really cool like author name. It
oh,
looks
thanks.
looks really cool on the cover of your book. So
Oh, thanks.
okay, so we have so many questions for you, and I'm just going to start with this. How did you come up with this concept? Did you set out to write a book of short stories that told one story? Did you have an outline? Can you just like bring me up to speed on how you came up with this idea?
Sure. Yeah, I came up with this concept in 2009. Um, I've been wanting to read a book set in the world of Midwestern food for a long time. I since I was probably a teenager, and one hadn't popped up yet, at least a novel. Plenty of cookbooks and nonfiction books, but I've been wanting to read a book like that for a long time. And my mom, who was a writer herself and raised me to be a writer, taught me to read at a young age, encouraged my reading, and we traded books our whole lives. She passed away in 2005,
Hmm.
and she never got to publish a book in her life. And that was one thing that really lit a fire under me in terms of how many spins am I going to get?
Hmm.
How much? how, yeah, and so in a lot of ways, I felt like I set out to write the book my mom would want to read if she were alive, and a book that
Huh.
would honor her and honor our family and our history in the Midwest and the food I grew up with, like Pat's Bars, which was a recipe from my grandmother's cookbook out of Fargo, North Dakota. So yeah, I heard a North Dakota reference earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where well, out of Hunter, North Dakota. My mom was born in Fargo, but yeah, out of Eastern North Dakota, and I wanted to bring together those stories and write a book for my mom, but also write a story that I thought would have would have a lot of components and a lot of different perspectives on food in the Midwest. Around 2009, I went to a dinner party where I realized the only person that knows all of the people here is the host, and it would be interesting to ask her, how did all of us get to know you? And I thought that's an interesting framework for a narrative. So that's where I got the idea for the structure, was from one of my friend Patty Clark's dinner parties. And I just worked in the subject matter I wanted to write about. And I sat down every day and I thought, oh, what can I write that would impress my mom?
Oh.
And I had at a writing class I had in about 2007 or 2008, I had a teacher named Lou Matthews who told me that once I start writing about things that mattered to me, my work would get a whole lot better. And that's when I knew I had to address my grief over my mom's death and write about her and write for her. So she was, the book's dedicated to her. It's she's a huge presence in it. Probably most apparently in the Pat chapter.
Oh, so like, do you feel like your mom was like Pat?
Oh yeah, there's some of my mom and Pat for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, then I
Like,
would love your mom because I loved
oh,
Pat.
like the one little scene, there's a couple little scenes that was dying to get into a book. The one where the one where Pat and her friends were talking about how they got an article of clothing at Kohl's and they're all bragging about what a good value it was.
It was so funny.
Yeah, I always wanted to work that into a book. And also the little scene where Pat wins the Target gift card.
Yes.
And she knows better than to insult someone's dignity by giving it to them as an act of charity. She slides it into their purse. That's
And
totally something. Yeah.
there's so many little moments like that throughout the book where it's just, you just gave us a little glimpse into the integrity of so many of the characters like that. And it was so beautiful and so well done. So, okay. So, but again, I need to dig a little bit deeper on this.
No problem.
Did you know, okay, so did you say, okay, it's going to be Eva and then I'm going to tell it through short stories? And did you have it like, because, some authors say, oh, I just sit down and I let the story develop. But it seems like you had to have a pretty good idea of where you were going before you started in this type of book.
I did. Yeah, I knew what my ending was before I started.
Okay, right, because the dinner party.
I knew what the last scene of the book would be, actually.
And did you know that you wanted to name all of the chapters? I forgot to mention this before I got you on, that all of the chapters were the food at the last party.
Absolutely. I mean, the book is not only a recipe for a dinner party, since those foods are served at the end, but a recipe for a human being. These are the people that made Eva, and these are the foods that made her dinner.
Yeah, I just loved it. Which character was, besides, okay, so we've talked a lot about Pat and Eva. Which character was a really fun character to write?
Oh, which one was fun? Oh wow, they all were. Well, yeah, Pat was a blast. I could have written Pat forever. I could have written 300 pages of her, and maybe I will someday.
Yeah, I think we need a whole book about Pat.
Yeah, I also really enjoyed writing Brock. She was a lot of fun to write. That character was influenced by a college roommate of mine who lives in Minnesota. And, well, she's not the most likable character for, language is a little rough. Point of view on life's a little, what's the word? She's going through a tough time. And that's true of a few of these characters. They might be, like Octavia, for example, might be more likable if you'd met her 10 years later.
Right.
We caught her at a pretty tough time. And I think that was true with Brock too. I think Brock was the kind of person that's going to mellow with age. And
and she does. And I loved how you would leave me hanging. And at one point I would be mad. I'd be like, wait, what, did she keep the baby? And and then just casually in the middle of somebody else's story, it would be like, Brock and her son were there. And you're like, oh, she kept the baby. It was so, there are some, my husband always said, my husband's a preacher. And so he always says, people don't want 4, they want 2 + 2. They want to feel like they discovered it. Yes. And there are so many 2 + 2 moments in this whole book where you're just like, you're helping me to discover it, but you're making sure that I catch it. And it was just so much fun. Was there one of the stories that you struggled to write, that you had to keep editing and rewriting, and that maybe that almost didn't make the cut?
Wow. There were a few that didn't make the cut. There's ingredients in the final dinner that had chapters that I excluded from the final version because they were thematically redundant with other chapters. So yeah, like there's a chapter on tomatoes, on early girl tomatoes that does, yeah, that's written. It was published online on a site called Midnight Breakfast, so it's out there.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, and so if you look it up, you can decide for yourself if it should have been in the book or not. But I thought, oh, I thought Eva's not really in this chapter at all, just kind of at the very end. And we already have a chapter like that with Pat, because my other mission with Eva was to have a lot of her at the beginning and less and less and less and less and less. So by the time Cynthia comes around looking for her, Eva's as much a mystery to us, the reader, as she is to Cynthia. So we're following Cynthia's journey of finding out more about where her daughter is now and what she's up to. So there's less dramatic irony for the reader, but more of a mystery. I totally agree with you. I love books that respect the reader's imagination and allow them to fill in gaps. Because frankly, as a writer, I feel like I'm just one person's opinion. I I love it when there's space in a book for me to guess what may have happened, and I could be right. That the author doesn't tell me one way or another. And that's frankly more fun for book clubs too.
Yeah, it makes for a good discussion. And you totally did that with Cynthia. And we always talk about that in book club. Like, did you like the ending? Did you like how it left you like a little bit hanging? And I did. I thought you gave me enough to feel satisfied. And I honestly, like, personally, I didn't feel like Cynthia deserved to be in Eva's life, and or she even deserved to like to insert herself in Eva's life. And so I personally liked that. Okay, so I would say I assumed that that Eva didn't have really much to do with Cynthia afterwards. But then a friend of mine, she said, oh, in my imagination, she said that Cynthia became, I forget what the word is, but like the wine person
Oh, the
for,
sommelier. Yeah.
yeah, for Eva. And I was like, really? So it's just what makes such a good ending. Was there a chapter that just came automatic? I mean, just
Oh yeah.
almost.
The
Which
second
one?
one, Eva's chapter where she's a bullied child.
Oh,
She
I
got to
loved it.
do the she got to get the revenge on her elementary school bullies in a way I never could. So much of writing is wish fulfillment, it's utopian. I feel like if you're going to make up a world, why not create a world you want to exist? So I wanted to create a world in which a young girl could fight back with a weapon, sure, but not in a skillful way, using her talent. She could apply her talent and her knowledge in a way that will draw a line and create boundaries and safety for her.
It was great. Like, you wanted her to stick up for herself, but then
Yeah,
I loved, and I said this earlier, how by the time you get to the dinner party, you see how she's grown and she's matured, and she's like a very kind and generous
yes,
person. And
right.
so it was really fun to watch the progression of her of her character, the development of her personality, even through the eyes of these other people.
I agree. Yeah, by the end, she's not a person that seeks revenge anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even by the time she's dating Will, like she makes her statement about like, yeah, I don't really eat spicy food anymore. And in a way, that's kind of her telling us and telling herself that like, yeah, that was something I did and I've moved past it. But yeah, in regards to her attitude towards her birth mom, yeah, I agree with you. The ball's in Eva's court. All Cynthia can do is sit and wait to see if Eva comes around. I frankly think that was the least selfish decision of Cynthia's life.
Yeah.
Was standing there realizing exactly what you just said, that wait a second, this is not my place to intrude or insert myself. I need to step back. I need to step out of here and let this person come to me if there's going to be a relationship. I can't impose that on her. Yeah,
And
I thought that.
I think she also, her intentions originally were she just wanted to see her.
Mm-hmm.
But then once she got close to her, I think she wanted more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I really love that. So what are there other glimpses of your childhood or your family that you have like scattered throughout this book?
Oh yeah, I mean quite a few. My brother is one of the family's more successful deer hunters, and I I used his knowledge pretty extensively for Jordy. And in fact, a story he told me once inspired a specific event in that chapter where he shot a doe because he gets a doe license every year. And then right after he did a next shot, like she's down instantly, he sees her fawn walk in. And that was like the same year that our mom died. And
Oh.
so I thought, you know what, this metaphorically, this is probably hitting the reader on the head a little bit, but it's one of those things that you're dissuaded from doing in writing class where you're saying, but this happened.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that, get you chased out of the room by any reputable writing instructor. Like, no, it's fiction. No one cares if it happened. But to me, so much of my heart was tied up in that story, and it was just so resonant to me in particular that as a debut author, I just couldn't help it. I had to put that juxtaposition in there because it happened.
And I think now that I know about your mom, now I sort of understand Jordy as well, and
Yeah.
and his pain and what he was going through, and
yeah, and he didn't have a healthy way of dealing with it at the time, and I think it was important for me to portray him later on, working for Eva, showing like, okay, he landed on his feet, accepted help, because I think he was having a hard time accepting help then. He was really in a forest of grief, and yeah.
I was really sad and scared for him. And there was another one of the little cliffhanger endings that you gave is like, you brought me into this character and I was really cheering for him. And then he makes these really poor decisions with pills.
Yes.
And I was bummed. And I've talked to several people, and I'm sure people are going to start commenting this. A lot of people didn't catch that he was a waiter at the final dinner. And I was talking to somebody about it. I was like, no, Jordy was he was one of the waiters. And so again, it was just like the little bit of closure that you got to know, okay, he's okay. And yeah, it was, I really loved Jordy. How do you know so much about food? Do you cook do you find yourself to be a cook?
I'm intermediate. I make I know how to make what I like, I guess. I think I'm more of an enthusiastic end user. I love other people's cooking. I've missed restaurants a lot the last calendar year. Ended up setting my third book in one. But I feel like
uh-oh, we got frozen, guys. Okay, hey. We're back. Sorry.
Hey, no, it's my fault. My phone was in the sun heated.
Oh.
The sun is setting out here in California right now, and my office gets the most sunlight between 5 and 6 p.m. and that's where we are. And it was just in the sun, and it overheated and shut down. So, but I'm back. I'm out of the sun now. I'm in the darkest corner of my office.
Okay. Well, yeah. I've got some more questions from people.
Great.
Some people want to know, do you like spicy food? Because you were telling us about food and how you miss restaurants. Do you like spicy food?
Sure. Yeah. I don't love it. I don't have it terribly often as I get older. I think I like sleep more than spicy food. Yeah, I think I could handle it a little better when I was younger, and I just don't eat it consistently enough to have a real resistance to it, like Eve developed. So, but yeah, I enjoy it from time to time still. I just maybe more for lunch than for dinner.
So you live in California. What is your favorite, what's your favorite indulgence food?
Oh boy. Oh, that's a great question. Oh, maybe like fried fish. That's still stupid. That's been my favorite food since I was a kid. It's just like nice piece of fried cod or any fish, really. I just love fish.
Me too. Yeah. I love French fries.
Yeah, that's good too. Yeah,
that's my indulgence. So, okay,
shrimp cocktail too. I love a good shrimp cocktail.
You can't go wrong with a shrimp cocktail.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of people want to know, did Pat get arrested?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
It's my opinion. I don't think so. Yeah. Yeah, but she was willing to be. I love that attitude about her. Man. I mean, that's something, once again, we're going back to my mom. That's something she would have done. in that scenario. But I don't think Pat got arrested.
I don't either.
Yeah.
So, okay, you're a writer. You said you've always been a writer. When do you like to write? How do you like to write?
Oh boy, whenever I can. I've been very fortunate that since I sold my first book, I've been able to do it full time. But I've got a family now. I have an 18-month-old son, my first child, and so writing time has been a little bit more professional. Like before he wakes up and after he goes to bed.
Do you type on a computer?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, everything goes directly into it. I will do like a outline in longhand. I'll figure out who the characters are and how the book ends before I start, and then I'll get to work. And usually in the middle, I usually write the beginning last. Like the Lars chapter was, I think, the last one I wrote for Kitchens, which is which is the main reason why he dies, because I knew, like, oh no, I'm going to have to kill this guy because he's not in any of the other chapters. Like I'm setting up how Eva was put into the situation of making a family of choice without a nuclear family to start with. So I knew where the mom was, but I knew the dad was gone and had to be gone. And then I invented this character to begin Eva's story, to initiate her entry into the world. And I thought, oh no, he's gonna have to die, and probably early, probably early in her life, for her to have no memory of him, like in the second chapter, which was the first chapter I wrote. So I really trapped myself in there. And it really broke my heart. I love that character.
I loved him too. And I thought several times throughout the book about him. I was like, oh man, Lars would be so proud of his daughter. Or I thought, man, I wish Eva knew that her dad was, loved food like she does. And so really well done to even kill off a character in the first chapter that you think about, ongoing throughout the book. Tell me about what you like to read. Because I find that most authors that write fiction, they love to read fiction. Do you have an author that you've read every single book that they've written?
Yeah, Dennis Johnson. I've read all of his work. I've read just about every Alice Munro short story probably by now. Those two are kind of my desert island authors. Let's see. In terms of contemporary work, I've got a few right here. Like, I really love this book that just came out in paperback today. The Second Home by Christy Clancy. It's another Midwestern set book. It's set in Wisconsin and Cape Cod. It's a really, really nice story. Let's see. I've got Raft of Stars down here by Andrew J. Graff. This is a Wisconsin set book. It's set in rural Wisconsin. If there's any William Kent Kruger fans in the audience, any fans of Ordinary...
We've actually had him on book club.
Oh, awesome.
He's
did probably
Ordinary Grace.
You do Ordinary Grace? Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, I'm a fan of his too. Yeah.
He's amazing. Have you ever met him?
Briefly. We did a promotional event together.
He was so nice.
Before our last books came out. Yeah, he was super nice, and he's a great speaker. He's a very sweet man and very kind. And I was, an author with promoting my second book before it even came out, 4 years after my first one. And he's been in the business a long time. He had a, whole successful career as, writing, I guess, more crime mysteries in addition to his literary novels. And he was promoting, what was
This Tender Land.
Yes, This Tender Land, yeah. And so, I met him at that one event where we were pitching our books to booksellers and libraries in the Midwest. Yeah, there was an event called MIBA, M-I-B-A, that does quarterly or seasonal meetings. And we were both invited to a spring one to promote our books to booksellers. So the regional booksellers would know how to talk about our books and, hear about them from us and have some, like some elevator pitches and how to explain our books to their customers. Yeah, so I met him there, and what a neat guy, yeah.
He was so great. And people are saying that he was like, everybody felt like he was like our best friend. He was just,
Oh,
he was so
sweet.
kind.
Nice.
So do you have a book that you're like, I wish I could experience this book again for the first time?
Oh,
Because I
wow.
would actually put Kitchens in that category for me,
Oh, oh,
of just like, you'll never be able to experience beginning to end and the reveal and like, oh, like all those special moments. Do you have a book like that?
oh, wow. Oh, I guess many, a lot of them. I can't think of just like what's just one. Let's just like, oh, you know what? Probably, oh, where is it? I know I'll see it if I see it. Oh, yeah, I know it's not. Um, Life After Life. Yeah, Life After Life. I have such a hard time doing by Kate Atkinson. That is a book.
Oh,
That is a book I read summer of 2019. So a ways after it came out, and I just love the structure. The structure just blew my mind, and it kept me consistently engaged.
is that the
Yeah,
book? It's black with a red rose on it.
yes, yes, yes. Right, right. A stem with a rose on each side of the stem.
Yep. I've had
And
that book
without
in
giving
my wish list
too much
forever.
away, yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah, yeah. In fact, I won't give too much away. I won't give anything away. Just it's a wonderful book set primarily in wartime in the United Kingdom, and it's and just but it's a book about people. It's a book about mortality and persistence and so many things.
Okay,
Family.
I'm gonna give
Just
it a
love it.
try.
Yeah,
I'm
love
definitely
it.
gonna give that one a try. Okay, real quick before we have to go. Tell us about, so you have a book out called The Lager Queen of
Of
Minnesota,
Minnesota. Yeah.
and but then you said you're working on something.
Yeah, I just finished the second draft of my third novel.
Okay, and when does that come out?
I don't know yet. It depends what my editor thinks of this draft. I hope next year. Yeah, I hope next year.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Well, I can't wait to read The Lager Queen, and just thank you again for, I know it's not an easy thing to write a book, to finish a book, and I just appreciate people who just put good stories out into the world to just bring joy and hope to people's lives. And so I really appreciate it. And thanks for coming on tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's once again, it's been my honor. Like I said, there's a lot of great books out there. So whenever anyone chooses mine, I'm flattered and blown away. So, so thank you so much. It's been a
Thank you.
great time talking with you in the book club tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And can't wait to read more from you.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. I love talking to authors. I love hearing about their methods and their madness, and how their real life ends up creeping its way into their made-up story. And I just love talking with J Ryan and hearing about how he's one of those authors that starts with the end, and he had an outline, and what a brilliant book. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Make sure, if you want to be a part of the Holly Furtick Book Club, you head over to hollyfurtick.com and just click join the club. And I'm just going to send you an email once a month to tell you what we're reading and when we're meeting and what author will be joining us. So join the Holly Furtick Book Club. If you like this video, make sure to give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, give me a comment, tell me some books that you suggest that you think I should read, and also make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that little bell for notifications so you can get more videos like this. I love you, and I'll see you back here soon.